not just eminent by virtue of what he has attained. He's eminent by virtue of who he is and what he has been doing. We have seated before us our guest lecturer, General Martin Luther AGWAI. Thank you very much. As a fanfare, only due for a general. I was going to add other things, but if I do that, it will take too much time. Now we also have to recognize the presence of the representative of the DGSS as the chief host, in the person of Mrs. Bola Shure-Olufe, FSI, the Director of Training. Let me also quickly recognize our own, the Commandant of the Institute, Alhaji A.S. Adeleke, FSI, Daga, MNI, the Mujangwandu, the Omoluabi of Osun State. Let me also quickly do recognitions of those that have honored us with their presence here, starting with the few heads of agencies here present, or their representative. Representing the Chief of Army Staff is Brigadier T.B. Ugaibe, the Acting Chief of Military Intelligence. You're welcome, sir. Also, we have Mr. Okode Effiong, AIG, representing the IGP. He is a fellow of the Defense College. Also present here today, we have with us the representative of the DGNIA in the person of Ambassador Mrs. Chedo Chituru. Also present with us is the CG's rep from the National Park Service, Dr. Martins Omole. And we have with us Mr. Danjuma T. Obashi, FSI. He's representing the MD Fund. Mr. Musa Zakari representing the DG NEMA. We have Mr. Mohammed T. Umar, FSI, representing the CG Immigration Service. And we have Mr. John May Rafi Ahmadu, FSI, another one of us representing the Executive Secretary of the National University Commission. With us is Assistant Commander General Joseph Icha, representing the Chairman and Chief Executive of the NDLEA. Also with us, we have my elder brother, Major General Wahab, GA, who is the DG of the Army Resource Center. We also have with us Commodore Hassan Sarr, the Defense Attaché from the Gambian High Commission. We have Ambassador Anthony Kaswa, Honorable Commissioner of Special Duties and Security, Nasrati. We have Mr. David Aseya Abi, FSI, the Director of Training and Manpower Development, representing the DG of Nigerian Civil Defense. We have with us Dr. Joseph Ochogu, the Director General Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution, who is going to be a book reviewer for us. We have with us Corps Marshal Uche Chukura, FSI, a representative of the Corps Marshal. Ambassador Gusta Garrido, representing the ambassador from Spain. Other recognitions will follow as I get them. Sir, our guest lecturer, seated before you are 86 participants of the Executive Intelligence Management Course 16 and faculty members of the National Institute of Security Studies, Lower Usman Dam, Abuja. The course participants are drawn from 35 agencies in Nigeria, as well as 4 African countries of Chad, the Gambia, Niger, and Rwanda. They are deputy directors and above, or their equivalent in the armed forces. The participants have undergone a 10-month course in the institute, which will lead to the award of Fellow Security Institute FSI, as they have been forward in learning and character. The purpose of the course is to impact on the participants the required knowledge to address the dynamic and complex security challenges in their respective countries, as well as foster interagency synergy and international cooperation. Sir, the theme for the course is globalization and regional economic integration, implication for sustainable development in Africa. With your kind permission, sir, I will call on the course participants to introduce themselves one after the other, after which I will introduce the faculty. EIMC 1, please.
Good morning, sir. My name is Abdullahi Aliyu from the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense School.
Morning, sir. My name is Mohammed Bashir Abdullahi from the Department of State Services.
Abdullahi Ibrahim Erado, Department of State Services.
Moses Babatunde Abegunde, Department of State Services.
Tefa Aboho, Department of State Services.
Olusegun Bamidele Adigun, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission.
Agafe Chinedu Gabriel, Standards Organization of Nigeria.
Paul Ame Akubo, Department of State Services.
Alikali Suleiman Ibrahim from National Commission for Refugee, Migrant and Internally Displaced Persons.
Rosa Luku, Department of State Services.
Fumi Oseyemi Amao, Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency.
Ojochide Samuel Ame, Department of State Services.
Manfred Angsim, National Emergency Management Agency.
Folukeola Emiarigbede, Department of State Services.
Asanya Daniel Nnamdi, Federal Road Safety Corps.
Enebeshi Monica, Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Bridget Lakeche, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency.
Pat Edak, Department of State Services.
Godwin Uche Dunku, Department of State Services.
Abdullah Isa Jero, Chadian Armed Forces.
Dauda Samaila Kumo, Federal Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment.
Abdullahi Amasama, Department of State Services.
Ahmad Njuma, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria.
Sani Mohammed Dahiru, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Pius Zira Clement, Department of Trade Services.
Austin Bobai, Department of State Services.
Suleiman Bello, Department of State Services.
Mohammed Bello, Sokoto State Government.
Abubakar Sahabi Bello, Sokoto State Government.
Harry Erin, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Eyakwaire Chibuzo Deborah, Nigerian Customs Service.
Godwin Ejimofo as the Department of State Services.
Fashola Theophilus Ojoma, Department of State Services.
Yakubu Daga Gazama, Department of State Services.
Galadima W. Biangs, Department of State Services.
Gaba Wahab Bello, Department of State Services.
Idris Garba, Department of State Services. Aondose Emmanuel Gua, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria.
Hamisu Jamilu, Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency.
add Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Moraino Omotunde Hassan, Nigeria Immigration Service.
Ibrahim Zayan, Department of State Services.
Esheku Anthony Dokogi, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria.
Leonard Yezo, Nigerian Ports Authority.
Ismaila Olatunji Ishola, Department of State Services. Bashir Mohammed, Department of State Services.
Musa Mohammed Kengio, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons.
Mohammed Sayyid Hussein, Department of State Services.
Abubakar Muhammad Natala, Department of State Services.
Peter Matsiko, National Intelligence and Security Service of the Republic of Rwanda.
Alex Manzi, Rwanda National Police.
Halima Mamandara, National Agricultural Land Development Authority.
Maria Mamman, National Park Service.
Geraldine Bawalongsin, Department of State Services.
Lawan Ahmed Faye, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria.
Lawal Kabir Kazma, Department of State Services.
Bashir Jazuli, Department of State Services.
Babukar Jaju, Gambia Armed Forces.
Mudlamin Jallo, State Intelligence Service of the Gambia.
Anthony Zebika, Edo State Government.
Jovina Jovi Siraje, Department of State Services.
Rikuye Musa, Department of State Services.
Haruna Musa, National Universities Commission.
Ndax Vincent, Nigeria Immigration Service.
Ekaite Victor Nelson, Department of State Services.
Aijinu Sopoke Ingele, Department of State Services.
Nanya Kanwokike, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Immaculata Anyo, Nigeria Customs Service.
Obajemo Alfred, Defense Intelligence Agency.
Pascal Abunchuku Ogba, Nigerian Air Force.
Omodele Oyinlola Ogena, Department of State Services.
Chinedu Chukwuma Ohezukosi, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria.
Akindele Adebowale Olajide, Nigerian Ports Authority.
Beatrice Uzomunyemich, Nigerian Correctional Service.
Omasan Shongosonya, Department of State Services.
Shoshino Paul Oluwashun, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps.
Suleiman Mohammed Dabai, Nigerian Bar Association.
Emeka Donald Ugu, DSS.
Yusuf Hamis, Nigerian Correctional Service.
Zanna Ali Ibrahim, Yobe State Government.
Said Yusuf, Joint Admissions and Malnutrition Board.
Yunana Dixon Ayuba, the Nigerian Police Force.
Yahya Basiru, Niger Army.
Usman Mohammed Mukhtar, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Umar Yakubu, the Nigeria Police Force.
Thank you, sir. Those were the 86 participants. So let me have the privilege of introducing members of the faculty. The faculty is today led by no other person than the Mujia himself, the Commandant of the National Institute, Alhaji A.S. Adeleke, FSI Daga Ebeda. Also present is the Deputy Commandant and Director of Studies, D.E. Egbeji, FSI, FDC. We also have with us the Director of Estimates and Library Services in the person of Dr. A.A. Karim, FSI Daga. We also have with us E.E. Oyeyele, the Director, Coordination and Liaison. Other members of the faculties include Daramola Monitor, FSI, Rafiu Bolariwa, FSI, Bartolomeo Omwaka, FSI, Dr. Francis Opo, FSI, FSP, SP. And we have with us Sheikh Husani, MNI. I also have Godi Omechu, FSI Daga. And we have with us Commodore J. Edako, PSC Daga, FDC Daga. Seated to his side is Commodore Daniels, PSC Daga, FWC Daga, FDC Daga. So we call him the triple Daga. Next to him is no other person than Ambassador Dr. Magashi, FDC. Next to Ambassador Magashi is Professor Sadiq Abba. Next to Professor Sadiq Abba is Dr. J.C. Duru. The Amazon of the house, Professor Olaseyinde William, FSP, SP. Next to the Amazon is no other person than Group Captain Muhammad Gumi, PSC Daga, MNR. Next to Group Captain Gumi is Professor Omar B. Bello. Next to Professor Omar is Professor Muhammad Omar Buratai, FSI. Next to Professor Buratai is VG Joshua Research Fellow. We also have with us Mr. Isaac Shotayo, FSI Daga, and Evelyn Kwaso, FSI. Sir, I'm also supposed to be seated there, but I'm here now. So I'm also part of the faculty, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, before we go too far, I want to quick recognitions. We have with us today Major General A.D. Chimoko, retired MNI, Armed Registrar at the National Center for Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, Office of the National Security Advisor. Also, we have Ambassador Timothy Kasau, who is the Commissioner of Security in Nasarawa State. He's representing the governor. You're welcome, sir. We have Engineer Olusegun Olabi, the CEO, who's representing the CEO of NALDA. Sir, before I go far, I don't want to commit class suicide. Let me recognize National Headquarters Directors present from the DSS. We have with us Winifred Oliko, FSI Daga, the D Inspectorate. You're welcome, ma'am. We also have one of us that has escaped, and now at the headquarters, Dr. Nka Obibisong, FSI Daga. Now you are still part of us here. And also, we have the Director Technical in the person of Kehinde Ayola, FSI, and fellow of the Institute for Engineers. Also present is Engineer George, representing the Federal Inland Revenue Service. And also let us give honor to who honor is due. We have with us our very senior retired directors that are seated on the front row here. You're all welcome, sirs and ma'as. We have with us also Admiral Clement Atebi, representing the chief of the Naval Staff. And we have SS Kolawole, who is representing the Controller General of Correctional Services. Our guest lecturer today, sir, kindly permit me to read an abridged version of your CV before we proceed, sir. It is actually heavily abridged because it came loaded. CV of General M.L. AGWAI, CFR, NAM. Martin Luther AGWAI, a well-decorated retired military general, had a long and distinct military career and is an advocate of peace, stability, and democratic values in Nigeria and Africa. During his military service, General AGWAI held several positions at tactical, operational, and strategic levels, both within and outside Nigeria. This culminated in him being promoted to the 4-star general and appointed as the Chief of Defense Staff. His ascension to the pinnacle of his military career began when he made the Academy Senior Under Officer. He was made the Academy Senior Under Officer, won the Sword of Honor and the Gold Medal at the Nigerian Defense College in 1972. In 1972, where were you? He also emerged the best overall cadet and first in the order of merit among his colleagues. So today we are talking about the General of Generals. During his military career, he served in Nigeria as the Nigerian Defense Attaché, covering the entire South African sub-region, stationed at Harare between 1993 to 1996. He also served as the Deputy Force Commander of the United Nations Mission in Sierra Leone between 2000 and 2002, where he introduced the hotspot disarmament that assisted the mission greatly during the DDR, that's disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. He also served as Deputy Military Advisor at the UN headquarters in New York. He was Nigerian Chief of Army Staff in 2003, where he began the program of transformation of the Army as CDS. He was the last force commander for the UN mission in Sudan and the first force commander of the UN AU hybrid operation in Darfur, the largest hybrid operation of peacekeeping between 2007. In 2018, he carried out an independent review of the UN mission in Abyei that led to the mission reorganization by the UN. The general hosts a postgraduate diploma in public administration. Very humble. Clap for him, please. And this was from ASCON. And he has a Master's of Science in National Resource Strategy from the National Defense University in Washington, D.C. General AGWAI won the Ambassador Medal for the excellence in research and writing while he was at the NDU, that is National Defense University, being the first foreigner to ever win that. The General is a recipient of several military and academic, professional, local, and international awards, recognitions including the prestigious CFR in 2004. He was inducted into the International Fellows Hall of the NDU, Washington, D.C. in 2005, Sudan National Award in 2009, and Visionary Award of the African Center for Strategic Studies in 2010. His medals and awards include the Nigerian Army Medal of Honor, that's the NMA, and the Grand Service Star, the UN and AU Medal with stars for his service at EMIL, UNAMID, and at the UN headquarters. General AGWAI has experience and expertise and is still sought after within the armed forces, public and private sector within Nigeria and abroad. He's here now. He's well sought after. We had to work hard to bring him. General has participated in several UN and AU senior leadership programs in developing future civil, military, and police senior mission leaders in peacekeeping. He was the Nigerian chairman of the Subsidy Reinvestment Program, the SHOPI, between 2013 and 2015. He was the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Bingham University, Cairo, Nasarawa State, between 2018 and 2023. And the University of Calabar, Cross River, Nigeria. In recognition of his contribution to international peacekeeping and peace building, Martin Luther AGWAI International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center was named after him. To Capitol, he is currently a visiting professor for African leadership at the King's College, London, UK. Please, a resounding round of applause for him. is a taste of what to come. Sir, with your kind permission, let me invite the Commandant for his welcome address. The Commandant, sir.
Our guest lecturer for today. I'm sure I'm not in a position to call your name, but I'll call you my father. Other protocols duly observed. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I feel highly honored and privileged to welcome to our 2023 very distinguished Persons Graduation Lecturer, General Martins AGWAI, CFR FWC, to the 2023 EIMC Graduation Lecture. He will be speaking to us shortly on the topic of rebuilding trust in plural societies, pathway for sustainable development in Africa. As the participant of Executive Intelligence Management Course 16 will have noticed, the graduation lecture is very in tune with the theme of the study of this year, which is globalization, regional economic integration, and implication for sustainable development in Africa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the EIMC 16 commenced on the 13th of February 2023 with 89 participants, drawn from intelligence community, military, paramilitary, law enforcement, some strategic regulatory agencies, federal and state MDAs, and the private sector within the country, as well as 4 other African countries of Chad, Gambia, Niger, Rwanda. However, it is with great sadness that we remember our dearly departed colleagues, Professor Ifeanyi S. Williams, a study group coordinator, and 3 other participants, namely Juliet Okeke of DSS, Christiana Godwin Akpan, DSS, and Nuruddin Olayinka Jima from Oyo State, who we lost during the journey. May their soul rest in peace. Amen. The theme of the study for the course is apt. Sustainable development in Africa depends on our ability to balance the opportunities of globalization with our commitment to environmental and social responsibility. Regional cooperation should extend beyond just trade. It should include policy to address common challenges such as peace building, conflict resolution, climate change, security, healthcare, and growing unemployment of our youthful population. Given the unique pedigree of our guest lecturer today, both the institute and the graduate should count ourselves very lucky to have him in person to deliver this lecture. The general is very much at home with the topic of discussion today. He will be sharing his experience with us, his wealth of experience as a former Chief of Army Staff, former Chief of Defense Staff of our great nation. He was also the Deputy Military Advisor at the United Nations Headquarters, New York, and served as the Commander of Combined United Nations African Union Peacekeeping Force in Darfur, Sudan, where he led the biggest peacekeeping operation in the world with approximately 20,000 troops and 600 police officers under his command. I shall now preempt our distinguished graduation lecturer, but I must recall that in an interview he had with the Vanguard newspaper precisely 8th of August 2021, while sharing his perspective on the way forward for the country, he said, and I quote, "The security of Nigeria is tied to that of the sub-region, and the instability of the sub-region will also have an effect on us, and by implication, the continent as a whole. Our guest lecturer is a man of proven integrity and courage. He served his fatherland meritoriously in the army, rising to the highest rank, and is still serving in different capacities as a global statesman whose commitment to Nigerian national interest has remained paramount. Despite the Institute's short notice overture, he did not decline his national assignment because he sees himself as a father figure. Indeed, the Institute made the right choice. Our distinguished graduation lecturer, on behalf of the management, faculty, and entire staff of the Institute, I humbly appreciate you for honoring us, for honoring our invitation in spite of your extremely busy schedule. We are most grateful, sir. My dear graduating participants, as you navigate the complexity of life, never underestimate the impact of your actions. Be compassionate leaders, dedicated innovators, and empathetic collaborators. The challenges ahead will test your mettle, but let them be stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I most sincerely welcome you all to the graduation lecture of the National Institute for Security Studies. I appreciate all of you for finding time to attend this program. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for our dear commandant. The commandant said he was unworthy of calling the general's name and called him his father. I'm also unworthy of calling him, so I'll call him my great-grandfather. Not only because in actual sense he is, because my elder brother is here in the person of General Wahab, who is a son to him, and I'm a son to him. So, sir, my apologies again. At this point, I will call the representative of our DG.
This auspicious occasion management course with the theme Globalization and Regional Economic Integration, Implications for Sustainable Development in Africa. The tentatively to tap from its wealth of experiences from the region and experiences from the continent of Africa. I therefore seize this opportunity to wish each and every one present here this morning a fruitful deliberation as we listen carefully to the guest speaker. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Another round of applause for my DG, please. Before we make further progress, I will quickly recognize some names that were omitted. Please recognize the presence of Brigadier General E. Aladini, who is representing the CDI. You're welcome, sir. And again, Ambassador Dr. T.A. Alas Fatile, Fellow of the Defense College, representing the PAMSEC Foreign Affairs. Recognize Ade Soji, Ani Ade, MNI, the DG Citizens and Leadership Training Center. Barrister B.S. Maina, the representative of the Clerk of the National Assembly. You're welcome, sir. While we are at the National Assembly, let us quickly recognize Air Commodore retired Sani Zakari, FDC, the Sergeant at Arms. He is a member of the General's Entourage. Also present is Muhammad Yankari, the State Director of Security, Nasarawa State. You're welcome, sir. FSI. And he used to be the MG here when it was his time. MG for life. I also recognize management staff of the NISS and deputy directors from the national headquarters present, and also Mrs. Winfred Shokbeka, NYSC FCT coordinator. You're welcome, ma. Now, there's a slight detour in our movement. We're still marching on. The general is leading us to where we're going. The next point will be a quick book presentation. At this point, sir, with your permission, sir. God bless you, sir. Thank you, sir. I will call on Dr. A.A. Karim, FSI, Daga, to come forward. Dr. Karim, sir.
The guest speaker of today, the commandant. Let me stand on established protocol, please. Today, we are presenting to the public a book titled Strategic Leadership and National Security in Nigeria, in honor of Sahid Ayodele Adeleke, FSI Daga, MNI, Fellow Institute of Chartered Chemists of Nigeria, Fellow Society for Peace Studies and Practice, for his contribution to the development of the NISS. Indeed, the DGSS, Alhaji YMBC, CFR, FWC, instructed that if we don't recognize his contributions to these developments, we could see the monumental development on campus here, as well as his welfare and his altruistic lifestyle. To his credit, he has supervised, directed, that's the commandant himself, directed that 4 other notable Nigerians to be recognized by being by publishing books on them. So this morning, I have the honor and privilege on behalf of the management, faculty, esteemed faculty members and distinguished participants, indeed National Security, National Institute for Security Studies, to unveil these publications. The publication will be presented, will be reviewed by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, DG, who I will invite shortly. The book itself is dedicated to fallen, departed faculty member, participants, and other fellows of the Institute, to mark as honor for their departure. May God bless their souls. Let me seize the opportunity inviting the DG to man the rostrum and review the book before we unveil. Please. The DG.
Thank you so very much. Distinguished guest lecturer, our grandfather and father. I used to be the personal assistant to Dr. Ochoche, now Professor Ochoche, Sunday Ochoche, when you were Chief of Army Staff, CDS. And I think your MA too has risen and is the commandant right now of the Defense Academy. So I needed to make this point to know that we are all here building the nation, and it's a transgenerational thing. I will observe all other protocol and try to go quickly to the book review because we have very limited time. The book is Strategic Leadership and National Security in Nigeria, essays in honor of A.S. Adeleke, FSI, DAGA, MNI. Thank God for learning. I would have stood here and said FSI plus, but I heard people saying DAGA, so I needed to use the word DAGA as well. The book is edited by Dr. AGWAI Karim as well as Dr. Mohammed B. Umar. The publisher of the book is the National Institute for Strategic Studies, based here in Abuja. It's a 561-page document published this year, 2023. In the realm of strategic leadership, I need to mention this, that in trying to review a very massive page document like that, we earlier arrived at 20-something page, and I discovered that that wasn't going to be a review. So I have just about 5 pages or thereabout to run within the next 10 minutes. So in the realm of strategic leadership and national security, the compilation of essays titled Strategic Leadership and National Security in Nigeria stands as a testament to the insightful contributions and profound impact of Alhaji A.S. Adeleke. This volume, meticulously crafted, curated, and edited by Dr. AGWAI Karim and Dr. Mohammed Umar, delves into the intricate intersections of strategic leadership and national security, bringing together a diverse array of perspectives and expertise. It's important to put the editor's profile and to say that Dr. AGWAI Karim and Professor Mohammed B. Umar, 2 seasoned scholars with a rich academic background, spearhead this editorial endeavor. Their extensive experience, as reflected in their publications and affiliations with prestigious scholarly bodies, including the National Institute for Security Studies, underscores their authority in the field and ensures a comprehensive exploration of the subject matter. What's the purpose and the occasion? The genesis of this book lies in the profound recognition of Alhaji A.S. Adeleke's remarkable service to the Department of State Services and subsequent as commandant position at the NISS. The essays presented here not only uphold these astute views on managerial and security intelligence challenges, but also serve as an appreciation of its enduring legacy as an intelligent and security colossus. This work is a sincere tribute to Alhaji A.S. Adeleke's 3 to 4 decades of unwavering dedication to the Nigerian security sector. I thought we were going to give a round of applause to him. The book and the contributors. This page is collective, it provides collective wisdom, research expertise, and experience which emanate from diverse backgrounds of approximately 34 contributors. These contributors, comprising individuals with significant experience in security, intelligence, and leadership in their own respective rights. They are esteemed scholars from academic institutions and seasoned policy makers and practitioners who have brought in their wealth of knowledge from years of dedicated service within and outside of Nigerian institutions in a well-documented form. Their inclusion in this compilation underscores their professional eminence and highlights their deep respect and admiration for A.S. Adeleke. It is a testament to his influence and impact that individuals of such caliber willingly contribute to their expertise to honor his legacies. What is the thematic structure for the book? The strategic leadership and national security in Nigeria is methodically structured into thematic sections, each contributing to a nuanced understanding of the intricate dimensions of national security. Commencing with Section A, the introductory phase encapsulates 5 chapters, setting the foundation for subsequent in-depth analysis. Section B critically engages with the symbiotic relationship between leadership and development in Nigeria, comprising 6 chapters meticulously scrutinizing this vital nexus. Section C broadens the scope, dedicating 9 solid chapters to the external dimensions of Nigeria's national security challenges, while Section D concentrates on the intricate landscapes of intelligence and national security, presenting 2 chapters that delve into the operational intricacies of safeguarding the nation. Transitioning to Section E, the focus shifts to human security in Nigeria, exploring this multifaceted concept across 6 chapters. Section F takes a singular approach, concentrating within a single chapter, while Section G delves into the critical domain of strategic leadership within Nigerian security agencies, featuring 4 chapters that dissect this fundamental aspect. Section H dedicated to the imperatives of professionalism and capacity building in Nigerian security sector, which concludes the thematic exploration. It features 2 chapters contributing scholarly insight into ongoing efforts to enhance capabilities and expertise. In Section A, because it's imperative, if I hang it here like this, the review is partly done, but it's not correct. So it is important to proceed to try to bring out the flesh, in the meat. So Section A of the book, Strategic Leadership and National Security in Nigeria, commences with an insightful exploration of Ayodele Sahid Adeleke's leadership in the introduction. Brigadier General I.K. Alowade retired, delves into Adeleke's tenure as NISS Commandant in Chapter 1, comprehensively analyzing his achievements and strategic collaborations. Alowade skillfully weaves Adeleke's leadership style together with NISS growth and partnerships. Chapter 2, anchored by Ibrahim Kolawale Alawale, delves deeper into Adeleke's background and career progression, emphasizing his contribution to the Nigerian Security Organization and the Department of State Services. This chapter serves as a historical narrative, providing a detailed overview of Adeleke's journey and impact on the Nigerian security landscape. The transition to Chapter 3, the title is A.S. Adeleke Introducing the Colossus, written by Professor Mohammed B. Umar. It exploits Adeleke's social and political capital. Umar highlights his transformative efforts and underscores Adeleke's role in elevating NISS and building international networks. Chapter 4 focuses on the nexus between leadership and national security and development, emphasizing Adeleke's roles as NISS Commandant. The section concludes with Chapter 5, NISS, an insider's perspective by R.A. Bolariwa, providing an insider's view of NISS evolution under Adeleke's leadership. These chapters collectively weave a cohesive narrative, offering readers a holistic understanding of Ayodele Sahid Adeleke's impactful leadership at NISS. Section B, Leadership and Development in Nigeria. Section B of the book focuses on the critical interplay between leadership and development in Nigeria. A.A. Karim, in Chapter 6, meticulously examines the multifaceted dimensions of current security challenges in Nigeria, ranging from Boko Haram terrorism to ethno-religious conflicts and armed banditry. Providing a detailed analysis, Karim unravels the root causes behind these challenges, offering readers a comprehensive understanding of Nigeria's complex security landscape. In Chapters 7 to 11, further contributes to the discourse on leadership development. Umar MBU comes in again to explore in Chapter 7 the historical significance of leadership, emphasizing its pivotal role in organizational success. Chapter 8 by Michael Odebioha Maduagu delves into the historical context of leadership challenges in Nigeria and advocates for strategic leadership as a critical solution. Mohammed Inua Umar Buratai, in Chapter 9, scrutinizes the role of traditional institutions in modern Nigeria and their implications for strategic leadership. Ali Bashir Magashi, in Chapter 10, highlights the integral relationship between leadership and public policy, stressing the need for collaborative efforts in policy implementation. The section concludes with Chapter 11 by M.U. Adiku, who advocates for a forward-thinking developmental strategy, draws lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic. Adiku encourages proactive measures to ensure Nigerians' preparedness and resilience for future challenges and opportunities. Together, these chapters provide a comprehensive exploration of leadership and development issues in Nigeria, encompassing historical perspectives, traditional institutions, policy implementation, and forward-thinking strategy. In Section C, which is external dimension, Chapter 12 to 19 in Strategic Leadership and National Security in Nigeria collectively provide a thoroughly explorational security landscape. Authors here address diverse aspects, including external security challenges, collaboration among security agencies, regional responses to insurgency, legal dimensions of armed conflict, the role of National Assembly in upholding democratic principles, Africa's influence in global politics, illicit financial flows, and counter-terrorism efforts. The chapters offer valuable insights into interconnected issues such as terrorism financing, youth restiveness, corruption, and the need for a holistic strategy to ensure lasting peace and security in Nigeria. Overall, this section contributes to a comprehensive understanding of the complexities within Nigeria's national security discourse. In Section D, which deals with the landscape of intelligence and national security, Section D focuses on the landscape of intelligence and national security. In Chapter 22, Artificial Intelligence and National Security in Nigeria by Kehinde Ayola, the global significance of artificial intelligence is explored, emphasizing its crucial role in addressing contemporary challenges as cyber attacks, climate change, and pandemics. Ayola discusses the application of artificial intelligence in intelligence gathering, surveillance, and weapon systems development, while addressing associated ethical considerations that are related to artificial intelligence. Chapter 23, Cybercrime as a threat to national security and EFCC overview by Nwaemeka Nwokiki, delves into the emergence of cybercrime as a significant threat, providing an overview from the perspective of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Nwokiki highlights the intertwining of cyber criminal activities with broader security concerns and underscores the crucial role of cybersecurity measures in safeguarding national interest. This section adds valuable insight to our understanding of evolving challenges in national security, particularly in the context of artificial intelligence and cyber threats. Section E, the human security angle in Nigeria. Strategic leadership and national security in Nigeria critically analyzes human security in the Nigerian context. Isaac Shotoyo in Chapter 24 provides an advanced analysis of the evolution of human security, principles, and emphasizing their interconnectedness with human rights, political authority, and the state's dual role as the state's real threat. Abraham Nabham Thomas in Chapter 25 takes an empirical approach using global security indices to explore the intricate dynamics of human security in Nigeria. This analytical trend permeates to Chapter 29 as Olayinka Ramata Karim adopts social lens to analytically examine youth unemployment as a threat to national security and the link between insecurity and food sufficiency in Africa, respectively. Michael Folosho Daniel in Chapter 30 contributes an analytical dissection of banditry in Nigeria, categorizing activities and evaluating the multifaceted strategies employed to address this security challenge. Together, these chapters offer analytical insight to comprehending the diverse dimensions of human security challenges in Nigeria, encompassing socio-economic issues, food security, and the intricate phenomena of banditry. In Section F, which is the intersection of technology and national security, it analytically examines the intersections of technology and national security. So this permeates from Chapter 31 to Chapter 34. In Chapter 31, Evelyn Yachem Kwasau critically exploits the connections between economic and security consideration in broader management, emphasizing the transition from manual to advanced ICT tools and technological solutions. Kwasau's analysis underscores the impact of this transition on evolving national security landscape, emphasizing the need for reorientation, procedural improvements, and prioritizing human security. Chapter 33, authored by Bridget Elakeche Ede, appraises the National Drug Law Agency within the national security framework, evaluating its role in addressing drug-related challenges and contributing to overall security efforts. Lastly, Chapter 34 by Alfred Tosi Obafemi comprehensively explores the Defense Intelligence Agency's role in national security, delving into its historical evolution, functions, collaborations, challenges, and the impact on intelligence operations. Collectively, these chapters provide an analytical lens to understand the evolving dynamics of technology, policing, drug enforcement, and intelligence in the context of the Nigerian national security architecture. In Section G, the strategic leadership within Nigerian Security Agency. In Section G, The examination of strategic leadership within Nigerian security agencies unfolds through Chapter 35 to Chapter 36. Dr. F.C. Okpo's Chapter 35 meticulously navigates the historical evolution of intelligence training institutions in Nigeria, dissecting their trajectory, cost structures, and administrative frameworks. These chapters serve as a comprehensive analytical resource, elucidating the intricate nature of intelligence training and its organizational underpinnings. In parallel, Chapter 36 by Mohammed Garba Gumi offers a detailed exploration of the evolution of critical strategic training institutions in Nigeria, such as NIPS in Kuru, NDC in Abuja here, and NISS. Gumi's analytical lens dissects their historical development, emphasizing their distinctive roles and functions and contributions to the nation's strategic training landscape. The analysis extends to the curricular frameworks, the methods of institutions, and the overarching impact of these institutions, providing an understanding of their pivotal role in shaping strategic leaders and influencing national policies. Through both chapters, the readers gain analytical insight into the complex and evolving landscape of strategic leadership development within Nigeria's security. I will not do my work if I don't provide a critique of the work. When you do book review, there must be a critique of the work. So strategic leadership and national security in Nigeria offers a thorough examination of various facets of national security, featuring contribution from over 34 esteemed experts. The book's well-structured thematic approach provides a nuanced understanding of the reader's landscape. Despite the wealth of information presented by individuals and agencies, a notable gap exists in the discussion concerning collaborative efforts among security agencies. However, there is a need for a more pronounced focus on how these agencies can work together seamlessly in today's interconnected world. Suggestions include exploring and highlighting specific collaborative efforts, such as joint training programs, information sharing protocols, and coordinated operation to enhance border manning and addressing evolving security. Another concern is the book's limited exploration of lessons Nigeria can glean from issues around globalization, particularly border management. With globalization reshaping security challenges, the critique recommends a more in-depth analysis of strategies employed by developed nations in effectively managing their borders. This entails delving into advanced technologies, international cooperation, and successful diplomatic approaches, providing valuable insight for Nigeria to adopt and bolster its border security measures. In conclusion, the book, Strategic Leadership and National Security in Nigeria, Essays in Honor of A.S. Adeleke, FSI Idaga, MNI, edited by Dr. AGWAI A. Karim and Dr. Mohammed B. Umar, is a full menu on the subject of national security and strategic leadership, which cuts across research, policies, and practices. What I have simply done is to whet your appetite with the dessert. The dessert is this review that I've done. So I welcome you all to the meal table for the main course as you take time to devour the entire book in honor of one of our great men, a statesman, a patriot, an administrator, a security mentor, an institution builder, and a thoroughbred professional. A.S. Adeleke, FSI, Daga, MNI. In the words of Professor Amadou Sise, Alhaji A.S. Adeleke is a deep thinker, strategist, thoroughbred professional, and a patriot. I thank you so very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Let me seize the opportunity inviting the guest speaker to lead the high table to unveil the books.
Thank you very much.
Our father is going to unveil the book. Our great-grandfather. Sir, when we add the 4 stars, it goes to great-grandfather, sir.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Oh, this one. All right. All right. This is why it's good to have ladies at home. Thank you, sir.
The book on strategic leadership on the person of A.S. Adeleke, FSI Daga, MNI, the Muji and Gwandu, and the Omoluabi one of Oshu State has been unveiled, and copies are now being picked by all our guests. Please, Doctor, I hope I will get my share.
Pick another one. Okay. Different ones.
They don't bring her name to me.
Why are you not joining us? Sorry about that.
No. Buena book. The representative of the DG, the commandant, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have unveiled the book. And again, for those who have not seen it, let me raise it again for us to see it. It's we have done only part, that is clapping. The next thing is for to put our hands inside our pocket. And since in this age, in our age, we used to carry money. In this age, you people go with cards and other things. So what I will suggest and plead that for all of us who have a copy, we have to reciprocate by appreciating what has been done by all the people who have compiled this book. I'm sure the coordinator will give us an account number, and I'm sure before we leave, we will get that information. Please be very generous so that we can have more books and so that we can know more about our individuals and understand one important thing: leadership. If you Google leadership, you will be surprised. There are millions, and yet you have never been able to come to the end of what leadership is all about. So please, I congratulate everybody, and I say thank you. He said he's my son. So.
A round of applause for the general. I was telling the general, sir, let me formally invite you for your section. He said, no, he wants to talk about the book first. That is a man that appreciates academic intellect. That's a man that appreciates the work that has been done. That is a true sign of a leader and a true sign of a great-grandfather. On record, the general said we should all buy. As a great-grandchild, I think I'm entitled to a scholarship. So, and he said the coordinator should supply the account number. I will give my account number so that, because I'm the one coordinating from here for now. Am I on point? Do you all agree? No. So that is dissension in the ranks. Those in support say aye. Well, it has reached money matter. I don't change. Anyway, that was just a teaser to what we are expecting. At this point, with the highest level of humility, and I consider this a very, very rare privilege, I will call on our guest lecturer in the person of General Martin Luther AGWAI to come and deliver his graduation lecture. Yes, sir.
Yes, no, please don't sit down. And you will be, I will tell you later why I say you shouldn't sit down. Okay, you can now sit down, please. The simple reason why I wanted you to stand up is that you have been sitting for so long. And I think you need. And I thank the band for giving us that good music for you to stand and let the blood circulate. The representative of the DGSS, the commandant of this wonderful institution, today we are for graduation, so let me talk to the graduates. Congratulations to all of you. I'm sure if I don't work so hard, I will not be able to capture your attention, because some of you have been here for so long, you have listened to so many guest speakers, and it may be difficult for you to stop thinking of how many hours left for me to go back. So, congratulations. I want to thank, honestly, the Commandant. Beginning, I want to thank the DGSS for having looked at so many people in Nigeria and beyond that humbled me, was one of the persons to be selected to come and talk to you about an issue of rebuilding trust in the plural societies, pathway for sustainable development in Africa. I want to thank the DG, and I want to thank the Commandant, and I'm running out of words, because with all what you have been said and all the clapping that I have had, I'm sure the bar is very high. And if I don't measure near the bar, I'm sure some people will be disappointed. So let me tell you that you will be disappointed, so that if you are, you are just falling in line. When I was given this topic, I thought about it, and I wanted to say, why Africa? I wanted to tell the Commandant that, no, I want to narrow it down to Nigeria. Then I now remember that Nigeria is, and especially one of the reasons why I wanted to do so, is that because Nigeria is Africa in microcosm. Because of that, I wanted to narrow it to Nigeria. But then I remember also that we have some of our brothers from other African countries here. And I'm glad that the countries have had the minus Chad. All the other countries I have served in one place or the other with their nationals. So I think it's a good thing to welcome them. When I was in Darfur, the second largest contingent of over almost 4,000 was from Rwanda. And my deputy was also from Rwanda. So it's a great thing to know that Rwanda has representation in this course. And I'm looking forward to coming to Rwanda, at least if for nothing, to see the gorillas. Again, I will try, I deliberately did not ask this question. The question is that, how long do you want me to speak? And since I'm a grandfather, and funny enough, I grew up with my grandmother. So you know that when you become old, you talk and talk and talk. If you see me, I'm about to fall, that is when this talk will stop. So be ready for a very long discussion. With that, let me quickly say, I will try as much, since and I'm happy they didn't give me anything to control anything. Because even if you have given me, we from the analog age, we don't know how to touch all these digital things. We are always afraid. So the person helping me, if I say next, please just move on, so that I want it to be interactive. So if I say next, move to the next slide, so that we can now discuss, and hope we'll be through soon. By means of introduction, next please. The world that we live in is a very interesting place. Things are happening, and are happening very fast. And that is one of the challenges that you, the younger generation that have brought digital thing to us, are going to cause. Things are moving and moving very fast. That, for example, the protests that have been going around the world, who in this life in my time would have said that there would be some people in the US who will assault the Capitol Hill, who will say that the war between Russia and Ukraine that we all thought would finish in 6 or 7 days will continue up to today, that some of us have even forgotten that there is a war going on in that part of the world. So this is the world we are living in, with so many things happening in the world. It becomes a difficult thing. But then when we start narrowing down to Africa, next please, I just start wondering, with all the, which we will soon see and discuss, with all the wonderful resources that God has given us, and with all the human capital that we have, we are not able to. If you see the young boy sitting and crossing his leg, can you imagine if he had the best education in this world, what would he be? A very great inventor. That he can be able to create comfort for him with all the challenges, show that we have a lot of things, and all that we need to do is to rebuild trust, which we will go in and talk about it later. You know, as I've stated, the world is full of so many things. Either you go to the Latin America and the Caribbean, you will find issues of organized crime. What is the range in the war now between Ukraine and Russia? And you cannot remove the other part of the Western world into it. What is happening in Palestine, the Hamas, Israel issue, India and Pakistan over Kashmir, the South China Sea. These are all challenges that we have seen in the world today. And we now get back to our own part of the world, Africa. And that is what we are seeing. People talk about, and you keep hearing me repeating this for several times, the issue of, we are always saying colonial heritage actually brought lack of development to us. But for how long have the colonial masters left? What has happened? What do we need to do to really come on stage and say we have grown up? Yes, we have been lumped by the colonialists of when they come to partition Africa. They carried people, different ethnic groups, different religion, different background, put them together, all for their own personal interests and not for the interests of the people themselves. Then we also have seen what democratization has come up after the Cold War. People believe that, democracy will come with a lot of dividend. But you will also find out that part of the challenges we have had is the exclusive and zero-sum political issues that we have addressed our thing. And what has it brought? It has brought lack of trust among virtually most of the countries in Africa. The issue between the haves and the have-not, the issue between the rulers and those being ruled. And we have also, funny enough, refused to grow. We still look at things through the prism of ethnicity, religion, class, and all these things. So these are some of the things that I would want us to look into when we come to discussing the topic in full. And how are we going to run this? Before I get into the aim, let me tell you the scope of what we are going to do. We are going to look into the conceptual clarification, and then Africa and contemporary global development, Africa as an entity and the general grouping of crisis and conflicts, and it will later examine security in Africa, causes of crisis in Africa, the source of trust deficit in our continent, and the effect of such thing, and then the need for our collective effort, and what are the prospects that we have. and what is the possible way we can rebuild ourselves and move forward so that we can be together with the developed world. So what is my aim this morning or afternoon? My aim is to examine how we rebuild trust in African plural societies. How can it be, we can find a pathway to sustainable development in the continent. And let's now go to the conceptual clarification. There are a group of words that I will go into the next place. One of them is rebuilding trust, then the rural society, plural society, and that is sustainable development. I have deliberately put them, instead of taking every one word, I have deliberately put them together so that we can begin to see that though we are talking about a plural society, so we will put the words together to make them compound words that will help us in having a clearer definition and understanding on what we are going to do. So let me take the first one, rebuilding trust. Well, Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines rebuilding as putting together extensive repairs, restored to previous state, and restructure. That means something has gone wrong and you want to bring it together. And that means also, right up front I will say, that we have had what it takes about trust. We had trust before in our continent and in our home and in our community. So what has happened over the years, we have lost it and we want to rebuild it. While the same dictionary defines trust as reliance on the character. And so putting it together, I would say restructuring, reconstructing a structure or developing a situation in which people have confidence and reliance in themselves and in their ability. Next one I will talk about is the plural society. This dictionary defines it as is two or consists of more than one, that is a plural relates to more than one or kind of society, a class or goals, and a community, a nation, or a board of institution or tradition, collective activity interest. And it went on to talk about the composition of different ethnic, cultural, and traditional groups put together. So that is when you have a plural society, you have a composition of different groups, and the thing is that hardly is there any country today that you don't have that is not a plural country or society. People will talk about a country like Egypt with a population of over 110 million people. And you will say, oh, Egypt seems to be coming from the same group of people. Unfortunately, if we talk, there is difference. There are actually difference. One of them in Egypt is the issue of religion. There are other people who practice other form of religion in Egypt, though they belong to the same ethnic group. So we now go to look at sustainable development. And I will not bore you down with all those definitions. I'll go straight to the definition of the United Nations. The United Nations defines it as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. The present, but we should not forget about the future because we have to do that. So, in doing that, let's now quickly look at Africa and the contemporary development. Next, please. Next. Good. We are going to touch on the expanded concept of security. The thing about security is that it keeps changing. It keeps changing every day. Before, what we thought about security is an area that is secured, where people can carry out what they want to do, and the right developmental trajectory, or up to the what is happening. But we in Africa, we have, as I said, and you saw my two young boys. Since I'm a grandfather, those are my great-grandchildren. You saw them, and with all the resources we say we have, if we don't actually follow the right trajectory of where we want to be and what we want to do, what will happen is that we end up not third world, we may even end up in the fourth world, as the way things are going in the world today. When people are actually in the fourth industrial revolution, we are battling to have just enough power, energy to run our home, not to talk about industry. So, and if you see where we are, and you look at the statistics and everything, you will find out that we are also even in the period of second industrial revolution. That means we are about 1 century behind the whole world. And the world is not going to wait for us. But again, we have to look at what we will do honestly to catch up with the world. The extended security, as I've said, has changed. In our time when we were growing up, when you talk about security, number one is security of the regime, security of government, security of those in government. But today, it has changed to become issue of human security. And virtually every human endeavor today is in a security issue. Whether you are talking about climate, whether you are anything you are talking about, if you don't handle it properly, it will create a security challenge for you. And that is why you will find out that institutes like this, and I'm sure when the commandant and the DGSS start talking about wanting budget allocation and budgetary allocation and other things, people will say, no, it's too much. But the world has got to the stage of what it is today, that providing security is very, very expensive. It's becoming costly because everything you talk about, it has something to do with security. And then the next issue I'll talk about is globalization. You see, the globalization has brought unprecedented development, especially in the area of communication and transport. There have been monumental change, and it has increased the level of awareness of people. And you remember that some of the challenges we have had, even what Egypt had, it was people started working on this issue of technology in communicating what they will do, where they will RV, and what they are going to do. So gradually, the globalization is making the world a global village. But then it also coming with the challenges, the pressure on security operatives, and all of you who are graduating, you will find the pressure will be greater, because what do you find in the social media? So much fake news. You will find things you know, they will say it's happening now. And you know, if you follow, it's something that happened maybe 6 years ago, or it's happening in Abuja now. And the photograph and the clip you are watching is something that happened maybe in Burundi. So that is also the challenge that you are going to face as you get out to do your job. The criminal elements are also taken into it. Then the fourth generation of warfare, or the 21st century warfare. because of the unprecedented amount of insurgency, proxy war, and internal strife that we have today, we have had what they have decided to call the fourth generation warfare or the 21st generation warfare. But the truth of it, the bottom line of it, is that purely for economic reason. All the fight you will see, people today, their enemy yesterday is their friend today because of economic benefit and because of national interests. You will find people want to become rich, people want to be among those who control development in other areas, and some countries selling cocaine. That is what virtually the big people live on. Some on other things. And what do? They don't care what is going to cost other part of the world, as long as they can line up their pockets with money and everything. The same thing we have seen, even what is happening in our northeast part of Nigeria, is the same challenges of people getting arms from other places, even the people leading and influencing some of the actions happening under Boko Haram. A lot of them, you know better than me, I'm sure. You know better than me. But you know that a lot of them, even the prime movers, are not Nigerians. They are not even living in Nigeria, and they are not even Nigerians. But because they have their own interests, they will do everything to cause confusion, to make sure that government does not have time to get its acts together so that you can project, budget, and implement development. Rather, you are being attacked by cyber warfare, all sorts of misinformation and malinformation, so that you can take wrong decisions and do wrong things for their own benefit and not yours. So, what is now to us in Africa as an entity? Africa as an entity, okay, yes. Let's go to, move on to the next slides. Yes. No, next one. Beautiful, next one. I'll get on to, okay, let's stay there. I'll get on to the Africa as an entity itself, and we find out that unlike most part of the world, there is no common heritage or civilization linking all Africa. But we have been put together and squeezed together. Look at North Africa. A lot of them think of themselves as Arabs first before Africans. But when you look at the map and every expectation, whether it is them or us, everything is put as Africa. But the worst part is even those of us in the sub-Saharan Africa time. What we have at our country today are not really things. I have seen where one of my friends told me, a Ghanaian, he said in his village when he goes home, they play football. When you are in one part of the field, you are playing local. When you are in the other part of the same field, in the same village, you are playing international. And I said, what does that mean? He said the boundary between Togo and Ghana passes over that football field. So if you are in this part of the village and you are playing football and you cross to the other side, you have become international. You are no more local. So that is part of the thing that is happening. And what is it? Unfortunately, these things have now brought conflict. And they are also source of distrust that we have. Gaddafi, after the death of Gaddafi, arms spread from their armory all over Sahel Africa. Part of them came to part in Nigeria, and you find there is insecurity. Egypt has been fighting insurgency in Sinai. Ethiopian government is having its own today. My beloved country, Sudan, that I stayed for over 3 years, they are also having their own. So sad. I have not been to Khartoum since I left, but the pictures and what my friends tell me from Khartoum is very sad. When your own air force of your country will bomb their own headquarters, then you know that you are in trouble. And this is sort of the problem that we have in Africa, Al-Shabaab, and worse in West Africa. You know how we are grappling with insurgency. Coups are becoming another old-fashioned thing that is coming. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. But this is it. But if not even southern part of Africa is not left, Madagascar is fighting its own challenges with the jihadis. So the continent is becoming more and more problematic. And what do we have? All these things are affecting security. And where there is no security, there can be development. So we can now see why we need to rebuild confidence and we need to rebuild trust so that we can have some development. Like McNamara put it in a very nice way that in a modernizing society, security means development. And security is development. And without development, there can be no security. And others say without security, there can be no development. So we have to find a way to develop. And we need to rebuild that trust. And that cannot be overemphasized. Now, you can go back now to the general grouping of crisis conflict. That is the first, beautiful. Quickly just to say that Stephen Metz have grouped the world conflict into predictable purpose into three. The first tier, the second tier, the third tier. The first tier is those who are internally stable and highly unlikely they are going to fight themselves even internally. And most of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO countries fall under that. The second tier is, yes, they have problems of instability, but the instability has not gone to a dangerous level that they have no control over. For example, let's look at India does not have control of every part of its country. Kashmir, for example, there is this stability there. But because of Kashmir issue, it does not stop India to be where it is today, and it is not in any way going to cause India to collapse. But the third tier is where government has not got complete control. And most of those governments and most of governments in Nigeria, in Africa, this country inclusive, there are many ungovernable spaces. That is a debate we can hold on. You will hear some people that say no, but it's a debate that can go on. But I will say that there are so many ungovernable places that makes us fall under this third tier. And that is why also in the fighting in those ungovernable spaces by the non-state actors, you will find casualties because we don't use modern, we are still having people like me who are still analog. So sometimes it creates problem. We know the current unfortunate incident that have happened in Kaduna State. These are things. But you know, one funny thing I always tell people, even when I was in service and when I was in troubled areas like Sudan and Sierra Leone, you know, when dog bite man, what happened? No news. But the day man bite dog, news. So because people expect the insurgency and their people have been killing security people, killing a lot of people, it has not become an issue that Nigerians will want to boast, but because mistakenly, and to err is human. One thing has happened, it has now become a debate and all. I am not, and get me right, that every soul is important and sacred and should be respected. But I think in condemnation and putting pressure, we should not get to the extent that we make the security operatives to be so reluctant tomorrow to do what they are because they are afraid to make mistake. That is the point I'm driving at. So these are the three tiers of this. Then next, this okay, I'll go on. The socialists have two views about this conflict issue. There is one, the structure factor, and the cultural factor. In the structure factor, sociologists views structural factor to include constitutional provision and relationship between arms of government, and even relationship with external people. And the influence by external is so great in our continent that up to today, there are countries, and with due apology and respect to everybody, and even foreigners among us, but sometimes we forget that what we are so generous to the extent that we exclude ourselves and honor the foreigners. And sometimes we forget our own national interest and start pursuing other people's national interests. So these are some of the issues, but the good thing about it is that the structural one brings relationship, and unfortunately some of the relationship is based on class, power, status, and these are some of the things that are also contributing to the conflict. But the good thing about them is that they can be negotiated. But let's go to the second one, the cultural factor. It's the issue about the cultural one is that it talks about people, and it talks about beliefs of what people hold so dear to their heart. And in that, there is always, of what Huntington talked about, that clash of civilization and the fault line theory. And that you can look at what is happening in Mali about the tourists, what they feel, and you will find out that we start on this cultural issue. Even in Nigeria, there are some tribes that look upon another tribe as slaves, and that forever, even if your son or your daughter wants to marry from that area, they'll say, no, you cannot marry their slaves, even as at today. So issue of cultural factors are very difficult to negotiate. And that is where you that are here will also in your plan work extra hard to be able to help find ways of negotiating and moving for us to have that understanding. Because as long as we cannot integrate, the issue of tolerating people is, I hate to hear it, that somebody say, no, there is no tolerance. No, what we need to do is to integrate ourselves and know that, yes, you have your right to swing your arm, but you don't have your right to swing your arm and hit me. The same thing with me. I have my right to swing my arm, but I do not have that right to swing my arm to the extent of hitting you. So when we show that respect for each other, then things will be better. Let's move on now to security in Africa. The security in Africa is volatile, unpredictable, is complex, and is constantly revolving. One of the issues you hear, I'll talk about globalization. I've talked about it. The only thing I'll add under this is that artificial intelligence has come into part of the globalization today and has increased the level of anxiety of people, of machines, of robots taking the jobs that human beings will do. So, people have started showing fear. What will happen? We already have unemployment. And now when robots are doing the job of a human being, what will become about issue of unemployment? And they say unemployment is something that will lead also to the one of the threats of that our young people are facing. Then there is also the political factor of this. And I don't want to go too much into it, but there is a popular saying and in Nigeria is issue of marginalization. Some of it is factual, some of them is not. But whatsoever happen, not only in Nigeria, but even in other parts of Africa, there is that feeling of being marginalized. And it is one of the things that is causing either non-state actors or people clamoring for secession. Again, we have to look at it. There is no reason why we should shy away from addressing, even if it is perceived. Do you know that people have gone to war based on perception? So the longer you keep quiet about it and say, no, it is not true, it's a perception, it may become a reality and you end up with casualties. So it is important that we address factors like this. The same thing with economic factors. We have an extractive economy, but the sad aspect is that there is double, even sometimes triple taxation in this country and in other countries in Africa. Just because we carry the old legislators of our colonial masters, we don't look into any other thing. So you find people are paying twice, three types of taxes, but unfortunately, the rich actually pay little or no taxes. It's a fact that even when we go to the legal aspect of it and we go to justice aspect of it, you will find out that as a poor man, you have no money to even take a lawyer. So even if you have a good case, you can lose it. And I remember a story of a young man who had a case. He went to his legal lawyer and sat down and said, this is my case, can you help me? He said, yes, you have got a very good case. Then he got up, he picked his briefcase, was going. And the lawyer said, why are you going? You have a good case. He said, what I have told you is the case of my opponent. So if it's a good case, that means my case is bad. So I'm going. So you always hear from the lawyers that it's a very good case. But we have to find ways of addressing, even if it is perception, so that it does not become a reality. And issue of inequality will not become true, that creates distrust, as we have said it. The social factor, I have talked about a legal aspect of it. Unfortunately, sometimes in our acting, either because we want to take opportunities and because we want to help our people. And that is the problem I've also found in our country. Now loyalty is going to individual, and then it's going to an ethnic group, then it's going to zone, and on. The last person that loyalty goes to is the state itself. While it should be the reverse. And because people are loyal to the individuals, they will want to fight and die for that individual, but when it comes to fight and die for the state, everybody say no. So these are things that we have to look at, that our national interest and what puts us collectively together is important. There is no way, it doesn't matter the degree of security that you have. If your environment is insecure, there's no way you can have a beautiful sleep. On the military factor, there is also the military factor of it, and what is it? Most of us depend on other people to manufacture our equipment, and if tomorrow they don't like us, they will change the goalposts, they will change the system. And even those countries in Africa that have got defense and military industrial complexes, they still rely on other people. And those people you are relying on, it's not necessary that their national interest and yours are not in conflict. So, can you see how you are patronizing your enemy to become somebody just because you cannot afford it? Next, please. Yep, let's go. We have just gone through that. Yep, next. Is our legal system standing? Is it a proof that we are losing one leg and we have to support it? Next. So, what it is important is that there is, we have to have things that will make people have confidence in their country and love their country and trust the leadership. So now let's quickly look at the causes of crisis in Africa. Colonial legacy, weak structure and development, past perceived and real injustice, poor governance, ethnic and religious intolerance, and also on and on. I would just quickly touch them because you know these things. I just want to say that the colonial legacy, as I've said earlier, yes, they came with divide and rule. They came for their national interest, not your own interest. So how many years have we gained independence? I'm already been up to 60 something years, and you are still calling yourself a child, not a grandfather, then something is wrong. So for us, why are we still, yes, we had problem about colonial heritage, but what are we doing? We have weak structures for development. Yes, the colonial masters left little, but you know the truth. If we have been truthful to ourselves, how much have we improved? How much have we destroyed that was left behind by the colonial masters for us? I remember my first time I went to Lagos in 1966. I know no place in Lagos. I didn't have anybody's name in 1966. All they gave me was a telephone number. And I entered a train in Kaduna, and the train took me to Ido Station in Lagos. I got up, I put 2 kobo, the original kobo, not the modern kobo. And I dialed a telephone number and I called. And somebody picked it at the other end and came and picked me at the railway station. 20, 40 years down the line, if you remove GSM, can you go to any place and make that dial? Where's the train I took? In some countries of ours, they have removed the rail and give it to Goldsmith or Iron Bender. And then what have we replaced with? So we have weak structures, yes. We have perceived and real injustice. There are. Let's not shy about it. The issue of enslavement, people have refused to grow. You were a slave 100, 200, 500 years ago, you must be a slave today. The issue of trust is being removed. Confidence is being eroded. Up to today, I cannot trust so people. Whereas we are all individuals, there is those you are saying you cannot trust. You may find they are more trustworthy than even your blood brother. But because of this long history issue, we blanket everything and said, no, we don't trust. Well, poor governance, we cannot also run away from it. We have this tendency of winner takes all. And I keep saying, any country that makes a mistake of thinking that one party state is what they want, they are doomed. If you don't want to hear any dissenting voice, sometimes conflict is a wake-up call. Somebody arguing will give you a wake-up call to say, no, we need to look at this thing again. But when all of us want to be with winners, we go to winners and we all become too many winners that now nobody to lose and becomes a problem. So this thing now breeds corruption, and sometimes it affects our economy. And you can see industry. I remember again in the 50s in Kaduna up to 60 something. All the primary school, my classmates who couldn't get to secondary school or teachers college in those days, they went on KTL, Kaduna Textile Limited, another Arewa Textile and everything. Where are they today? They have disappeared. Has people stopped farming cotton? Have the land disappeared? What is wrong? Something needs to be done to keep us alive so that our citizens will have hope. The issue of ethnic and religious intolerance, we have talked about it. If we integrate ourselves, the issue of intolerance will reduce. Even in Somalia or Egypt, where we say they are all the same group of people, there are problems. I've told you earlier how Egypt is still fighting in Sinai or insurgency. You know the issue of Somalia. I don't want to go into it. But what we have to watch is that our population is rising and rising very fast. Young people are the majority now. If we do not find a way of resolving our conflicts or finding a way of accepting each other, when the population grows and the children now become what we are becoming, where Nigeria is going to be how many among the first 3 or 5 in 20 years, what will happen? These are things we have to be futuristic in what we are doing. Yes, the world is full of anarchy and we have challenges, but we cannot in any way allow that to allow might is right. We have to challenge it. Might cannot become right. Because once you allow it, people who feel they are mighty, they will take everything and you will continue to be a beggar. And that is why some part of the world is treating us in Africa. When you do something, they will impose sanctions. And some of us jitter and start fearing. If we all stay and lock ourselves in this country, I'm sure we will be somewhere now much, much farther, because necessity is the mother of all invention. Now we follow westernization, they would say is modernization. I'm not sure if westernization is modernization. What they do is they imbibe their ideals and what they stand for. And what they stand for. You know, let me say this, is we are all matured people, so we have to look at it. Do you know that homosexuality was being frowned all over the world? All over the world. But today there are religious groups that are even in the forefront. And I asked somebody when I was doing my master's program in US, what do you think about other people? We come up with so many gender or other words. And I said, my fear is that what animals, I grew up in the farm. I never saw a cock running after another cock. I never saw any he-goat running after another he-goat. But I saw a bull fighting another bull over. So, where are we today? We are being told that what animals are not doing, that is what we should do, or we must accept it. I don't know where we are going. Other parts of the world, you don't have this. Here it's normal. If you don't have light, if you hold a lecture for 2 hours and there's no power break, then that day you have to go and dance. So I'm used to it. So when there's no light, I yell. If it comes, I will talk normally. So what are the sources of trust deficit in Africa? Resources, resource management. Even in Nigeria, I hope the deputy commandant, this one I control, resource control first. So you see, we have even 5 words. We say resource control, this and that. This is part of the challenges we have. But can we find a way of doing our things that take care of everybody's interests and know that we have to manage it and control distribution so that we are fair to ourselves? Value, the issue of value is just like what I've talked about culture. What happened there is the interaction and is an issue of belief. And sometimes we carry it too far that it becomes destructive. So we have to be very careful about that. Information is another thing that brings deficit of trust. We are talking about disinformation. We are talking about misinformation. Some of them intentionally, some of them unintentionally. And let's be honest, even government and governance, there have been a lot of misinformation and malinformation and this. How do you want trust to be when the person you respect tells you something, say this is the way, and when you start walking on that road, you end up in a ditch? The psychological, physiological needs, Maslow's law of theory, so I won't want to go into it, but you know, this is one of the things they say, the necessity and the want. So once you don't have it, you feel unwanted, and you feel you are not respected. You feel that you are not included. You feel that you are hated, and you feel that you are not valued. So what do? Sometimes the inaction or action of government creates human rights abuse and creates exclusion and disrespect. So what do we then look into? The environment. Our environment, honestly, sometimes is not trust-friendly. Politically, socially, and even in the structure that we build for ourselves. Sometimes they are not. But the other side of the thing is that we have young people. How do we want them to grow up in the society? How do we want the truth, if the truth is no more truth, but becomes another definition? How do we want to go about it? Democracy. Well, a lot of people have said there is no true democracy in Africa. I don't know really if there is true democracy every part of the world, but what I want to say is that the main aim of democracy, or any type of government that we want to have, is for unity, diversity, unity in diversity. How do we accommodate diversity? And the truth of it is that the more you accommodate it, the more you will find trust, the more you will find justice, and the more you will find a guarantee of human dignity. And once you have those, then you are leading to trust, which will now give you the pathway to development. Inclusiveness, consensus, and compromises that are for the interest of the generality is what we should stand for. Issue of good governance is an issue that all of us have had. I would just quickly say that whether you are united or you are democratic, if you have no good governance, you have not started anything. There is state capacity, that the state and its leadership formulate laws that are policies that are for the interest of the masses, and the implementation, are they done effectively or they are on paper? How about accountability? Horizontal accountability, vertical accountability, and diagonally accountability. How about the responsiveness? How do we respond to people's needs? Those of us that are lucky at one time or the other to be in position of authority and in deciding. And please, let's always remember that leadership and responsibility and everything is not always everything. Oh, the president. No. The president, in every organization, there is a structure. What are you doing at your own level? How much are you touching life and encouraging people? how do they relate when your name is being called? And the worst part, when you are leaving, are there going to be palango and dancing by people? Oh, this wicked man is going? Oh God, how we wish he had stayed longer. These are things we should. So what are the effects of all these crises we have talked about? The effect is that we have started losing confidence, and people are no more interested in what is happening. And you can see in our West African sub-region, in the past 2 years, we are going back to those things that have created problems for us before. The issue of military coup. We have had about 7, 8 in the past 2 years, successful and attempted. And what creates this? People feel that they must also have power. If it cannot reach us, we must fight by every reason to get it. But if you have an open, level playing ground, you will find that there will be social interaction, and everybody will get, the fingers are not the same, so we'll not get the same. But we can get what will move us to believe in ourselves, to believe in our community, to believe in our state, and to believe in our nation. So and what do you find? The consequences is that the young people are running away. It's Japa, they call it. People are, well, I was even thinking the other day whether I'll join them to Japa. But then I know I'm a grandfather, I will not have even a job anywhere. So I'm saying here, Kankwe, like our former president used to say. So, but if you look at the development, even in trade, where are we in Africa? Take up the economic magazine and see the index. You will find Egypt and South Africa. The rest, nobody wants to know about us. And we are doing nothing to be known. Quickly, if the PowerPoint is there, just show us the UN highlights on the problem that why we cannot get the sustainable development goal. Quick one, they are just, I want us to run through them. If we cannot, you know all of them. The issue of challenge to, I've just mentioned one of them now. Brain drain, rapid growth of population, where are we going? The pool of illiterate people. People are going to the moon. We are digging ground, and not even the roads, we cannot travel on them. So we cannot move. The unemployment, what do we do about them? These are some of the things that are stopping us from growing. So what the need for us is that if Africans will continue to operate in this single way we are doing, honestly we are doing, we have to. No one African country can stay it and perform alone. So we have to group, and politically, economically, intellectually, we have to find a way to unite ourselves, to collaborate and form partnership, because it's absolutely necessary if we want to survive in the competitive world that we are in. We are very lucky, and God Almighty in His infinite mercy have given us so many wonderful things. One of them is our culture. Why can't we find a way of turning our culture into money making and spin something? Why do we want to use it only for entertainment? I think we have to. And why do we not insist we must be in the ring of manufacturing in any resources carried away from our continent? Why are we not using our indigenous knowledge and transfer it and utilize it and modernize it? I'm happy that the young people are doing it now. Before, if you want to eat eba, you must go to Bucatarian or somewhere. Now you can sit down and take your phone and dial 909. Was it or 9? That's our time. Our time was 090. Your time is now 08 or 06 or 0 something. So you can take it and book an order, and they will deliver, home delivery. So we have to be innovative. We have to now diversify our source of learning. Must we always go to Cambridge or Oxford, or must all knowledge be found only in the Western world? These are things we have to, and our leaders have to change. Issue of the behavior. We must collectively fight corruption and nepotism. You cannot, there is no country that is corruption free, but we must have it in a way that you can manage it. That is the thing. We need to have collective effort and to find out that the Cold War that we thought will help has not helped. So we must have collective security, whereby we build trust within ourselves, within our continent, and utilize what those things that we have, because it's getting too late for us to be blaming the West, the East, and everything. We also have to go into the game, and we must play it in a way that we are not losers, but at least we can be partners, equal partners, to remove the threat that we have within us today. In this globalized world, there is also the interconnected between the rich and the poor. We know everything that have they come, there is the good and the bad part. See what COVID has done. COVID has now shown there is no rich country, there is no poor country. Sometimes the poor countries enjoy more. Because they are poor, they are not worried about tomorrow. But those who are rich, they are all scared about tomorrow. So you will see this. So, and let's now know that, let's take opportunity. If the Russian-Ukraine war is stopping us from losing something, how do we replace it? So that even when they settle, we'll tell them, bye-bye, we don't need you. These are things we should do. What are the prospects of this that we have? Despite the numerous crises and problems that we have in some part of the Africa, our resilience, we are able to stand. When Ebola came, they say we will die. When COVID came, they say we will be dropping on the street like mango and pawpaw, rotten pawpaw. It didn't happen. So everything, there is something unique about us. So let's now use it. And I believe, even if not in my lifetime, that in the lifetime of most of you, especially those graduating today, or your children, that Africa will become the center stage that people will want to. And I'm beginning to be suspicious that people want to create problem and destabilize us so that they can come and occupy our land, because they know everything belongs to us. We will be in the forefront if we join heads and work as one. We must build and stabilize our sub-regional organization, ECOWAS, SADC, the African Development Bank, and everything, so that the continent will have security. If we have security, we'll have stability. If we have stability, we'll have development. And we must, as a people, find how to encourage outstanding talent and reward it. I have found out these days the rewarding system, frankly, we are playing double game. What is good, but when you start seeing some of the things that are happening, we are beginning to forget that if we don't get our narrative right, those who carve the narrative would put it in a way that will put us in a disadvantaged position. And with the polarization, people were saying democracy in Africa in the 90s, that is why there was no, because after the Cold War, there was no threat, the world was not divided, so we were at peace. Now there's polarization between the West and the East. The fight in Ukraine and Russia. You all know who is backing who is providing what for whom. And there are middle players coming in now. So what happened to us, we in Africa? What happens to us? Whether we want it or not, if we don't unite, they will interfere with what we are doing. And if they interfere, you will see we are going back to turn the hand of the clock backward. All this coup issue. If we have not had coup, look at India. If we are talking about population in Africa or in Nigeria, are we anywhere near India? If we are talking about diversity of religion and all these things, are we anywhere near India? But see where India is today. Are we, at the rate we are going, will be near that in the next 10 years? This is the question I pose to all of us. We have the resources. We have what it takes. Our leaders have to remember that the people are the source of their legitimacy, and that the resources they need are these people that will help transform our society. So we must honor them. We must look at how to do, and we must communicate and the truth. Stop about fake news and misinformation. Next, please. I want this picture up, if I can, the beautiful Africa. Yes. This is our continent. So beautiful. Look at Victoria Falls. Look at the Mambila Plateau. This is our beautiful country. What are we doing about it? We are, rather than develop, even if you don't have a tar road, we can still have an entire road and the environment is kept beautiful, that people who are so much seeing tar, they will want to come back and see something different in us. We have what it takes. Let's do something about it. Next one. We have the resources. But how much are we benefiting from them? People take crude oil from Nigeria, go and refine it in their country, and come back and sell it to us. It's a thing that we have to think twice about it. I'm glad that the current government is addressing that issue. It has to be addressed. Doesn't matter, even if the price is 1 million naira, let the 1 million be spent at home now. Not to be carrying, the man will come and buy it at 1,000 naira, and then when he brings it back to it, it's 4,000, and then when it is time for us to buy, we are always carrying our money. And it's funny enough, even in stealing, sometimes we steal the money and we go to foreign countries to dump it. Then the foreign country will lend our country that our own money, and then we now pay interest and everything. And now we go and beg them, please, can you their forgiveness? As citizens, we must begin. I'm happy that our citizens are beginning to raise their voices. I do not believe in violent demonstration, but I believe that we have to find a way forward in what we are doing. So what is the way forward? I've said so many things. Leadership awareness. There must be a dialogue between the people and their leaders. There must be an agenda set that people will know they are part of the game. There must be understanding and addressing the root causes of our challenges. There must be diverse way. It's not one side fits all. That if it has successfully done this in Rwanda, so Nigeria must do it the same way. But we can borrow and modify it to meet our own environment. We have to look at the good and inclusive government. We must find a way of creating equal opportunity, or Nigerians call it level playing ground. How do we have social justice and equality? How do we contain corruption so that at least we as a people can do? How do we strengthen our regional organization through AU, through the African Development Bank and others, so that we can, on our own, help our own people to move forward? We need early warning system. But I always say early warning and early response. I remember when I was the first commander in Darfur, we gave early warning. We are going to be attacked. We need helicopters. There is no way we can reinforce our troops. In some areas, it takes a journey that you can do with a helicopter in 30 minutes. It will take you 2-3 days to do by road. We asked, nothing happened. Until when we were attacked in a village called Haskanita, our camp was ransacked. People were killed. Nigeria lost 10 people in that attack. And most of them died of bleeding. So they could have been saved if we had a means of doing it. But that is what happened. And I'm not blaming Nigerian government. Nigeria went on behalf of the world. What was the world doing to help those people? That is the problem. So we must have early warning and early this. Strategic communication, please. We need to find ourselves, we must communicate. At every level, we must find a way of communicating between us. Government must find a way of communicating with the citizens and explain to citizens what she is doing and be honest about it. If there are challenges, if you have made a mistake, own up. Own up. It's a mistake, or you have done something wrong, own up. Communication is very important. We have to bring that trust, even within the family. And the families should be part of the communication. Our schools, drama, national orientation, and the equivalent in our states, in other states in Africa. How do we utilize them to communicate with people? If you know that this is the truth and you have been told the truth, it is easy to handle. But if you do not, and you keep deceiving people, and you know, they always say that every day is for the thief, but one day will be for the owner of the house. So we have to be very careful. Next, I will now conclude. I know I have taken you a long ride, and I'm concluding now. What have we to do? We have to engage one another in trust building. We have to know that trust building is everybody's responsibility, just as security is. Once you have trust, there will be peace, harmony, development that will guarantee the inclusiveness of including everybody. And with democracy, we will have it our own way. We do not have to practice that democracy the other people's way. We are intelligent enough to start finding ways that will work better for us. Know that trust is contagious. And therefore, if the citizen and the government trust each other, the split over effect will be great. And we should also know that trust is reciprocal. Government should participate, like Norman postulates, in two things. Trust is reciprocal. Somebody needs to show trust before they can get it back. The bottom line is that trust makes community more effective. There's deficit of it. We are not the only region that have plural society. We are not the only one. We are not the only region or only country or continent that have religion, tribes, and other races. No, we are not. So why, if you can borrow, why don't you borrow from them? How have they survived that we can survive? The beauty about variety, different plural societies is that it's supposed to be strong. Have you looked at the rainbow? Has any of you ever looked at the rainbow? How beautiful it is. Have you looked at a good plate of jollof rice? And I remember my wife and my grandmother used to say that better soup. So they put so many things, the thing becomes so that some of us will eat and lick our hands. They start bleeding, we don't know, we're licking our hands. So that is it. If we can, as a people, we can use our diversity in a good competitive way, not destructive way. We can find different views, and the more views we have, the more we put together, the more we become as a better jollof rice plate that everybody in West Africa eats. So, everything will be based on trust. We should continue to look at ourselves and our continent as God-given. Can you run the last 3 slides for me, please? Right. If you know your enemy and yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. And the only way you can know your enemy as an old soldier is through intelligence. And that is why you people are here. And I'm glad that the institution has brought people from diverse walks in our country, in our region, in our continent. That is where the networking starts. That is where you begin to know yourselves. And once you know, we will now know who our enemies are. And we will know that we will win the battle. If you read that, I don't want to go further, you can read it. You can read it. No, back please, just back. And then the issue of intelligence. What is required? Who requires it? Who provides it? How do you analyze it? Who analyzes it? How do you share it? Who needs to know about it? These are things that I'm happy you are being put together. We'll fight and find a way around, and we get the right information to the right person at the right time, and I'm sure the right decision will be taken. Next, rebuilding trust in plural societies to sustain a sustainable development. Every one of you is an actor, and you must be involved. If you do it professionally, in an intelligent way, in an integrated way, in a secure manner, at strategic and operational levels, knowing that your part component is just one in the whole. DSS is just one. Army is just one. Navy is just one. Road safety is just one. When you put all this together, you will find out that things become easier to go. Next, please. Next. Back, please. As I've said, look at that. The beautiful culture we have. Yes, good entertainment, but how can we turn it to become a money-making venture? With the brains we have in this country, if you engage people correctly, definitely it will become. I'll tell you a story and we wind up. When I was Chief of Defense Staff, the President direct is no more a secret now, so it's many years back. I was CDS in 2007. So by the law of intelligence people, I have gone the bar. It's no more, it was not top secret then. It was confidential. So now I can say it. We are given a task to revive Daikon in Kaduna. We went to Daikon and found 98% of the equipment there were gone, obsolete. We sent a team to Germany. They went and found the Germans said G3 rifle and everything. We have forgotten. We don't even know anything about them. So we got back home. We put our heads together. Do you know that steel rolling mill in Osogbo and the Air Force and another place, they sat down and fabricated all the spare parts we needed. And honestly, in 3 months, 2 weeks, every machine in Daikon was functioning. So it means we can do it. It means if we are challenged and we channel ourselves properly, we can do it. Graduating participants, you have learned a lot. You are in a place where some of you will be heads of organization. Some of you will be principal advisors. Please, in every advice you give your boss, in everything you do, put your nation first, and all other things will be added unto you. Thank you very much.
Please be seated. Another round of applause, please. How many of you have grandfathers that can stand that long and talk like that? I'm pleased and very happy to have this as my grandfather. Our guest speaker has spoken extensively from his experience. When a general talks about peace, you should know. When a general talks about conflict, you should know he has seen it all. And he has headed many missions. This is a general's general. Another round of applause, please. While the guest speaker was talking, he made references to Rwanda. And I'm pleased to say Rwanda is one of the countries that has always partnered with the National Institute. Today, they are represented by the first secretary in the person of Francois Nkurigoma. Please, sir, you're welcome. He's here with us. Also, we have with us the representative of the Minister of State for Police Affairs in the person of Mrs. Nadia Soso Mohammed, a fellow of the Institute, FSI. Ma, stand up for recognition. I hope you are no more angry with me. Well, as we move forward, I enjoyed the long break. At this point, I'm going to go on another short break. Before I do that, I'll invite the Deputy Commandant to give his vote of thanks. Then we will come and talk about the issue of trust. The Deputy Commandant, sir.
Our guest lecturer, General Martin Luther AGWAI, he has expressed what all participants and faculty have gone through for the past 10 months. It was a summary of what you have gone through. It gave you an insight to some of the things I've always hinted. That one finger cannot carry anything. The five must come together. Therefore, the issue of security is not that of one agency. And the progress of Africa lies in Africa. It lies in the unity of Africa. It lies in our understanding that we can survive using what we have as Africa. He hinted, as I've always said, practice 1% of what you learned here in the past 10 months. There's going to be a change. A change in your family, a change in your organization, a change in your country. So I sincerely want to thank you for grooming my participants and giving them the last advice before they leave the institute. While some of you have already bought your ticket, I beg of you that try as much as possible to represent this institute in the best way you can, because we are sending you as ambassadors of this institute, of this country, of your country. I want to sincerely thank the guest lecturer for honoring us. He's one of the most simplest retired general. When we invited him, he didn't take 1 second to say no or contemplate, maybe I have a program, just, okay. So he's here. So I will sincerely thank you very much. I want to sincerely thank the DGSS for all that he has provided, for making the institute be what it is today, for the support he has given the management. Without him, I think the last world tour wouldn't have been successful. DG, we appreciate that very much, sir. For all our invited guest service chiefs, heads of agencies here present, we sincerely thank you for honoring our first lap of the ceremony. This is just graduation lecture. Graduation proper is next tomorrow. We are hoping to have all of you grace our occasion. We sincerely thank you for coming today. I want to use this opportunity to sincerely thank my personal friend, the representative of the IGP, AIG Okon Effiong Okon. Can you rise for recognition, please? We started class 1, 1975, and graduated 80 in secondary school, and we went to university together. God has kept our life. Many of our colleagues are gone. So I'm proud of you, Okon Effiong. Thank you very much for honoring my invitation. Other guests who are here, I can't mention all. I sincerely want to appreciate, particularly the ambassador of Spain, ably represented here, and that of Rwanda, ably represented here. These are countries that offered us the opportunity to have a world tour in their countries. We appreciate you, Your Excellency, sir. For the National Headquarters directors, other retired directors, serving state SDSs, particularly Monitor General, the State Director, Nasarawa State. He says, once a Monitor General for life. So we have two ex-Monitor Generals here. Monitor General, Director of Training, Monitor General, State Director, Nasarawa State. We appreciate your coming, sir. For our future leaders, the government property, corpus, we sincerely thank you for being here with us. We appreciate your being here. We expect you again next tomorrow. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. I cannot finish my thank you without our gratitude to NSCDC band that have always been with us. Thank you very much for being here with us today. I want to sincerely end up by saying, my faculty members, I have grilled you people for the past 10 months. The participants, or you are still participants, Abby? You still have to, I have not yet finished giving your result, have you? Don't worry, you have done, eh? Sincerely, I want to appreciate the faculty members and the participants for the cooperation given me for the past 10 months. I want to sincerely appreciate the commandant of the institute, the Mujagwandu, for giving us the leadership direction. I hope many of you learn from us, learn from him. When it was so difficult, he didn't go for world tour. He has to stay behind. So I will appreciate you, sir. All other management staff, Director Admin, Director of Research, Estimate and Library Studies, Director of Coordination, Deputy Director of Coordination, and all other staff, both support staff. We couldn't have done this without all of you, your input. We sincerely thank you and appreciate your contribution. I want to urge all of you, as we prepare for the last lap, which is next tomorrow, we shall not sleep. We shall make sure that the last day is a success. I want to sincerely, on behalf of the Commandant of the Institute, not forgetting the fourth estate of the rim, then the press, and NTA people, always with me. Where's he? My guy. See that my guy there? Always with me. NTA. And all other media houses here present, we appreciate your cooperation and always honor our invitation. We sincerely thank you very much. I want to, on behalf of the Commandant of the Institute, management staff, faculty, graduating participants, to express our gratitude to all the invited guests, and we wish you journey mercy back to your different destinations. Thank you very much, sir.
I want to thank the Deputy Commandant for thanking me for the hard work I've done on the stage. He deliberately left out my name, so clap for me. The Deputy Commandant still has unfinished business, so he's coming back. No, I wanted to be called in person.
Sorry, sir. At this juncture, may I kindly invite the Commandant to make a presentation to our guest lecturer. Represent Commandant, sir.
Please, all members of the diplomatic corps that are present here should please come on the stage to have a group photograph with the guest speaker. Sir. Okay. Thank you very much. We all witnessed the family photographs that have been taken. I was left out, but it's okay. The commandant called me, but there was nowhere to stay. That was the inclusivity and the diversity the general has spoken about. I was left out. But I will not complain. I know my grandfather will take care of me. Now, before we go, one of our guests, Mr. Gustavo Adolf Garrido, Max Mazo Terra of the Attaché of the Interior Ministry from Spain, would want to have a short, just a quick talk. Sir, you may wish to.
Commandant, National Institute for Security Studies, Mr. Adeleke, General Mr. Martin Luther AGWAI. Let me to extend the existing protocol, ladies and gentlemen, and dear colleagues. Good morning in Aguaná, Ututuoma, Ekaro. Y buenos días in Spanish. So, don't worry because I am going to be very brief. So, let me introduce myself briefly. I am the attaché of the Ministry of Interior, as said the speaker, in the Spanish Embassy in Abuja, and I represent my agency, the Spanish National Police. It's a great honor and privilege to be here today in this solemn graduation lecture. Unfortunately, my ambassador was unable to attend this important event today due to other commitments on his agenda. Let me convey his apologies to you. We have collaborated in the past with the NISS. A few months ago, my country had the honor of receiving a study tour from one of the syndicates of the course, of the course Globalization and Regional Economic Integration, implications of sustainable development in Africa. And we received, I remember when we received at our embassy a visit from the NISS board and management last July. And finally, we were able to organize the visit in record time for September. We hope, thank you. We hope that the contents were useful for those students. Spain, and in particular Spanish National Police, I belong, wish to continue with the good and close collaboration between our governments and agencies, sharing knowledge, expertise, and sharing the most important, the information for fighting criminality, banditry, and terrorism in Nigeria, and of course in Europe, in my country. Let me to thank to the General for his excellent lecture and excellent presentation that has given us a very, very huge paramount and overview of all the situation in Nigeria and in Africa, and all the challenge that the country need to cope. So, dear colleagues, congratulations on your next Saturday graduation on the Executive Intelligence Management Course 16. And thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that, sir. Now that is a true partner. He was not on the program, but he offered to say. Another round of applause for him, please. Now, for those of you that refuse to remind me of the trust issue, I'll remind myself. The National Institute has an account, a very secured account that cannot be broken into. So for those that have bought books, or those that intend to buy books, and those that are already owning the books, I will now reel out our account number for you. I'm not talking to my grandfather or the elders on the table. The account number is already on the board. It shows the National Institute for Security Studies. Account number 3001040016. It's a CBN account. Don't look for GTB or any of this bank. It's CBN. Don't make mistake. Can we read it again? Do I need to read it again? Okay. Account number 3001040016 CBN. Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to have a photograph at the end of at the photo stand. The participants will quickly go there and file up while the guest speaker will come and meet you. We can now rise for the national anthem. Very much, and we wish everybody safe and a pleasant journey back to your various destinations. God bless, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thank you.